Applying a decoupage to a canvas is quite simple, but there's definitely some tips and tricks for things that you can do to get the best out of your process. If your decoupage paper is slightly smaller than the canvas you choose, you will have to use some paint to blend it into the background. Today's project is using this canvas that I got from a charity shop for a bargain for £3. I chose it after a long time of looking because I wanted something for this beautiful Here Comes the Sun decoupage paper to fit on. I had quite a surprise when I turned over this canvas because I found some batteries, which is not something you usually expect to see on a picture. I then discovered that there were some lights within this picture, so I had a bit of fun with that at the end of the video. But first, how to decoupage on canvas successfully. Now, if you're starting with a blank canvas, then you don't need to do this step, but if you are covering up a canvas like I am, then 2 coats of a primer like Boss is what you need. Do these coats a couple of hours apart and don't do any more until after the last coat has dried. Then on to prep the decoupage paper. So this is a rice paper, but you want to do this step with probably anything that you decoupage, and that is to tear the edges. If you're trying to blend decoupage paper into the background, then it's really obvious to the eye when there is a solid line between where the paper ends and the paint starts. So tearing around the edges just tricks the eye into masking that better. And a really important step for this specific rice paper, which comes from Dixie Belle's Bells and Whistles line, is to use a fine mister bottle to get it wet. You don't want it to get soaked, you just want to get all of it damp. And then set it aside to prep the canvas. Whether you're using Mod Podge or something like Clear Coat, which I'm using here, I love it when a product is versatile for several different purposes. Do a thin coat everywhere your image is going to go across the entire piece. This is probably the bit people are afraid of, actually laying it down in case they get bubbles, but you have got some time to work with this and make sure it's as smooth as possible. The key to success here is to use some plastic wrap. Get a ball and start from the middle and gently push out towards the edges of the picture. Because plastic wrap is so smooth, it's less likely to tear the image that you're working on. You've got some time, so gently lift up the edges and push any bubbles out, and this is the best way to get bubble-free results. The golden rule for having paint look effective is to have layers. One solid colour will be probably quite obvious, so you're going to want various different paints to help mix in this background. I've got a beigey grey background here, so to start with I did a rough coat of burlap. You can come into the image as well, that helps blend the transition between the paper and the canvas. Depending on the image that you have is what colours you will need. While it was still wet, I also used the colour Sandcastle, which is more of a yellow. For some darker lowlights to add dimension, I used a Spanish moss. And then finally for some highlights, I used the colour Buttercream. There's a lot of back and forth, making sure you have the right balance between the highlights and lowlights and see what is appealing to you, and also what suits the image that you're working with. Inevitably, you'll probably get some paint on top of a little bit of your image. That's okay, as long as the paint is wet, you can use a wet wipe just to wipe it off, and that's not a problem. Decoupage is such a great medium to be able to create your own wall art. You can use rice paper like this one, napkins, tissue paper, wallpaper. And finally, those lights. So I found these lights in the back. I had 8 lights, and as luck would have it, I had 8 sunbeams on my sun. I repositioned the lights to the end of each sunbeam, and in the dark it just adds a lovely little charming element to look at. As with many creative processes, it's a case of keep on going until you're happy with the results, and for me, I'm really happy with these results. So if you're looking for a way to create some simple autumn wall decor, this could be a great way to do it. There is more detail in the blog post, so I'll link that below, as well as the decoupage paper if you'd like to know more about it. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye!